Hi guys, Miss Francis here to investigate fermentation, the two different types of anaerobic respiration. In our last video, we discussed how glycolysis is going to give us two ATPs. From fermentation, from anaerobic respiration, the organism doesn't get any additional ATP. So why then would anaerobic respiration be a thing? Well, when a short burst of ATP is needed, an organism would choose the anaerobic pathway. When oxygen supplies run out in respiring cells, for example, humans who are doing exercise, or if an organism is in an environment that's deficient in oxygen, such as waterlogged soils. So here's the first type of anaerobic respiration called alcoholic fermentation, where pyruvate is converted to ethanol in 2 steps. So here's the first step. Pyruvate is converted to a 2-carbon compound called acetaldehyde by the removal of CO2. So when this happens, we call this the decarboxylation of pyruvate, where I'm going to remove carbon dioxide, leaving a 2-carbon compound behind. From there, the second step is that my acetaldehyde gets reduced by NADH to create ethanol or alcohol. That is something that's going to be done by yeast. It's done by the brewing industry. It's done also by the baking industry. The great thing about alcoholic fermentation is that it can produce a renewable source of energy known as bioethanol. So here's a nice little chart of the pros and cons of biofuels, which you guys can read on your own time. The second type of anaerobic respiration, also known as fermentation, is called the lactic acid fermentation, where pyruvate is converted to lactate, also known as lactic acid, while NADH is reduced. So this can happen in some fungi and bacteria used to make cheese and yogurt. Muscle cells in humans have the ability to switch from doing aerobic respiration to doing lactic acid fermentation to generate ATP when O2 is scarce. So here's cheese and yogurt, products of lactic acid fermentation, where this is a 1-step process. So after I do glycolysis, I'm left with pyruvate. Pyruvate is then reduced by NADH. NADH, in other words, donates an electron to, pyruvate is reduced by NADH, which donates an electron to produce lactic acid. Some organisms, known as facultative anaerobes like us, like humans, also including yeast and bacteria, can survive using either fermentation or respiration. So like humans, our muscle cells can behave as facultative anaerobes, but nerve cells cannot. So for facultative anaerobes, pyruvate is the fork in that metabolic road that leads to alternative routes. So here for review, these are the review questions that are in your note packet, and these are the answers that are to these review questions.